Everybody feels gypped, not treated well, not given what they deserve. People don't believe there's something greater than your egos. They think that there's no reality outside the little frame that they have conjured up. If you can work with me, do what the fuck I tell you. Don't even think about it. In fact, the worst thing you can do is try to argue with yourself or judge only by the results. And if you don't like the results, fire me.
Have you been through the vast majority of the things that you advise them to do?
Oh, God. If you want to know what a person is really like, who they really are, you see what they're avoiding. You can make as much money as you want to, be as successful as you want to. You can't be satisfied unless...
In this video, I'll be interviewing Phil Stutz, one of the most famous and also controversial psychiatrists in Hollywood. Phil is the man that Jonah Hill made a Netflix documentary about. He's a former prison psychiatrist and also for a long time, a guide to some of the most successful people on the planet. But this conversation goes beyond mental health. Phil was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2006, and while that has hindered his ability to practice psychiatry with his clients, he still possesses an incredible mind and interesting insights on what makes a great life. I think you're really going to enjoy this. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 78.
What does it feel like to be 78?
I feel very optimistic. Every year for me is actually a happier year because I finally have the wherewithal to do what I'm here to do.
What do you think people get wrong in the process of getting older and not continuing to feel better?
The key is how you deal with death. Everybody sees or thinks they know reality. They think that there's no reality outside the little frame that they have conjured up. But the result of that is, in the long run, no one is satisfied. The framework is very limited. If all you have is money, or all you have is an arithmetic view of the world, everybody feels gypped, not treated well, not given what they deserve. Satisfaction is a very rare experience. You can make as much money as you want to, be as successful as you want to, it's fine. But once it supersedes everything else, the real problem you have is your creativity actually gets squashed by that. In fact, you could say, a slight exaggeration, no one's ever satisfied with anything. Now, why is that? And the answer to that is, no, you can't be satisfied unless you have the magic ingredient. And the magic ingredient is the experience of God. If you don't like that word, you can use it any word you want, but if you don't have that, it doesn't matter what else you do. You can only connect to God through work. If you have no sense of anything bigger than you up here, it's impossible to feel satisfied. And you can't, there's no way to logically explain it. It's just, that's how human beings were made, and there's like a pre-created value system. Not that it's right or it's wrong or a Greek philosophy, it's nothing like that. It's almost like a physical need. And if you don't have it, you feel very gypped, for a better word. Something's missing. Science really in general became the new frame of what reality is. At that point, the frame of what a human being felt about reality shrunk. And because of that, no one could ever be satisfied, because what they needed, which was outside the frame, was the whole society said, well, that doesn't exist.
For people who don't know you, this is the first time they meet you, is the first time that they are listening to you, what do they need to know about how you grew up and your childhood to understand the version of you that is here today?
When I was 9, my brother died, and he was 3. And it was a fast-moving cancer. He's 3 years old. But here's the part I think this is like how to understand me better. I remember this. My brother had died. He had died in the hospital. My parents were coming back to our house, and my mother, so the car stops right in front of our house, and my mother walks out of the, and I'm about this far away from her. She didn't even look at me. Oh God. Now, and the family was so dysfunctional in that sense that nobody thought this was strange.
Mm.
Then I saw other strange things. My brother, who's about 3 years younger, starts to laugh. And it wasn't a sadistic laugh. It wasn't like that. I started to get enraged. And at that moment, I became the leader of the family. When I was a psychiatric resident, 25, wherever I was, 27, they give you patients to work on, like guinea pigs or whatever. The other residents were complaining in the first year of really being able to see patients. Oh, this is so hard, I have no idea what to do. I don't know, they didn't teach us enough to whatever. I was fucking laughing inside. I said, I was doing this since I was 9 years old. Are you fucking kidding me? I honestly, I didn't know what they were talking about.
When you say, I've been doing this, what is this?
I let people come to me when they're in trouble and they don't know what else to do. Like, let's say I was 12 years old, 12 fucking years old. And people would come to me and tell me their problems. Now, I had no idea what the solutions were, obviously, if I'm 12. But that's what really shaped me. And it's like a built-in part of my personality. I try, especially now, it's 78. I try to live according to some sense of, I don't even want to say morality, but let's for them, and to accept other people no matter whatever failings they have.
So you worked at the beginning of your career in a prison, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that experience?
Yeah. Were you ever in a prison?
Oh, I've ever been. Not for a crime, no.
No, okay. So what I learned in prison, hey, this could be a good book title. What I learned in prison. So what I learned is there are forces that are invisible, that can't really be explained, but they tend to dominate a lot of things. Looking back, I learned something about forces that move back and forth between human beings. And your ability to have impact or power, or however you want to say it, there's no way you could predict it in advance. Every inmate, see, this is a jail. A jail means no one's been sentenced yet. And it's a very dangerous place because people are jumping. You know, they're like moving like they have Parkinson's, or they don't have Parkinson's. They're just waiting for their next court date or whatever. Every one of the inmates would tell me, yes, I've done a lot of things. Now, this particular crime for which I'm indicted or accused of, I absolutely am innocent. I didn't do anything. Now, it so happens I'm the best thief in New York City, but not in this. I was innocent. He was ultimately more attached to his status among the inmates. That's why he would tell me, I'm the greatest thief. Observe people that can wield power and how they use it, and get a feeling that power is a real thing. You just can't see it, but you can feel it.
There's a lot of people in life that are feeling lost, that have questions that they would love the answers to, and I think if we could help them circumnavigate that a little bit better, that would be obviously very helpful. But I would love to start with tools for procrastination. For someone who feels they procrastinate too much, doesn't get enough things done, what would you advise in that sense?
My advice would be, if you want to know quickly and accurately what a person is really like, who they really are, you see what they're avoiding. I would say, I would answer that question backwards. That has to do with fear, basically. If you procrastinate about something, you're afraid. No matter what you think, no matter what you're telling yourself, you're afraid. And the only way to get through that is to have a different view of fear. It's a completely different. And you can't do that with the thinking mind. It doesn't work. Fear itself is stronger than any kind of thought that you get. So what you have to do is You have to view this fear. You forget about the cause. What determines whether you can conquer fear or not? First of all, you got to tell them it's possible to overcome this. Number two, you will not overcome your tendency to procrastinate without facing fear head on. And you can even go further than that and say you have to die to be reborn. So there's no less saying the same thing. There's something you want to write a novel and you haven't even sat down for 2 years. You need to touch it. There's tremendous fear in that, and the conquest of procrastination has to do with how you deal with fear. And the way you deal with fear is you have to go right into it. So we call it the reversal of desire.
Yeah, but it's interesting, right? Like the example you gave, the person who wants to write a novel, who spent 2 years thinking about it. I also think of any dream. Like I watch America's Got Talent, for example, and you see the person, it took them 30 years to get on the stage and perform. Well, think about the people who are watching or listening, that they have a dream that they've been thinking about that they haven't done.
Right.
And you said it all relates back to fear. What's the first thing that I do if I'm listening and I have this fear that I want to push past?
No, the first thing you have to do is label what's going on, which means the admission that
it's happened.
The
admission that it's happened. That
yes, that has happened, and it is stronger than you are.
Yeah.
You have to go right into the fear. I'll teach you the tool wrong. The normal human reaction is to desire freedom from fear. We avoid that. It's not a profound thing. Every human being does that. So that's the typical desire, is to avoid. Now the reversal of the desire says, not only am I going to stop procrastinating, I'm going to go right into the fear as if the fear was a thing. And it's going to free me if I keep moving forward, right into the fear. So you go, bring it on. I love fear. Fear sets me free. Bring it on. I love fear. Fear sets me free. Sets me free. And all the time while you're doing that, you want to feel forward motion. And you do the whole thing in like 10 seconds.
Do you think people victimize themselves too much, in the sense of not like finding reasons why it's okay not to do what they should be doing that might be scary to them or might be uncomfortable?
Yeah. And the way I train people like that is I said, you may be right. I may not have a way to help you. I may not. Yeah. But if you're going to work with me, do the motherfucker I tell you. Don't even think about it. In fact, the worst thing you can do is try to argue with yourself about it. Pay no attention to what I'm telling you. Judge only by the results. And if you don't like the results, fire me. And it's not a trick. I actually mean it. They say, I don't believe it. How do I know it's true?
Yeah.
And my words is, shut the fuck down. Don't have any opinion. Move forward.
And do it. Yeah.
And do it. If it doesn't work, go to the next thing.
Have you been through the vast majority of the things that you advise them to do? Like you personally?
Oh, yeah.
So you know that things work based on your previous experiences, essentially?
Yes, and that's actually how I developed all these things.
Yeah.
Everything I did, you're the only one who's ever asked you something. Everything I did was to deal with my own fear. Everything.
What do you think, if there's one tool? You said there's over 50 tools. If there's one tool that we need the most, or we should adopt the most, someone looking to live a better life, which one would that be?
Probably it would be this one. That's why I told it to you first. Because as I think at the bottom of all human motivation, that's what you have there is fear. The fact that most human beings are limited is because they don't believe there's something greater than their egos. See, once you think, you don't have to think, well, I believe that. You don't have to say that. You just have to say, I'm open to the possibility, maybe. There's something that I don't really know about.
Yeah.
The bottom line, everything I try to teach you is human nature has a broad standing set of assumptions, and that's that frame thing we talked about.
Yeah.
And the good part about this is, if I'm right, even 10% of the time, I've broken the frame.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, is to break the frame and see what happens.
Yeah.
At the seed of human motivation is the fear that if you break the frame, if you go outside what you think is possible, you're going to die.
If you're watching this video and you're enjoying the advice that you hear, but you also want to do something about it because you do not want to reach 80 years old with a bunch of what ifs, I recommend that you grab a copy of our daily improvement journal. This is the one that you see a lot of our guests actually filling in themselves. The point of this journal is to help you figure out, using data that you collect every day from your daily life, what makes a great day and what makes a bad day. This is a journal I've been making for the last 10 years. It has been refined over time as we speak to everybody that you see on our channel. Think about it as 1,000 interviews in one journal, the best pieces of advice in one 10-minute-a-day formula that actually works. And why I say that is because thousands of people have used it, but I've been using it for over 10 years. So if you're someone who wants to make sure there are no what ifs in a couple of decades, I recommend you grab a copy. Click the link in the description. We made a limited batch, and this is where you can get them. Phil, you're 78.
Yeah.
Never married.
No.
Was that by choice?
No. I've been sick since I'm 29. They call it chronic fatigue syndrome at that point. And it was a complete loss of will.
Yeah.
It was a complete loss of having any ability to fight back against whatever was happening in my body. And looking back at it now, being married it wouldn't be like a joyous thing. It would be just one extra thing to take care of.
Is that a big what if for you in life about having potentially been married or having kids?
Thank God I'm not somebody who looks backwards. In that sense, I have a good relationship with God. It's like whatever happens, no matter how bad it is, I'd always view it, without much effort, as this was meant to happen.
You never were married, but I'm sure you've seen a lot of couples, or you've met a lot of people who've been in failing relationships.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest key to a successful long-term relationship based on what you've encountered?
Teamwork is the biggest factor. A marriage is based on what I call a higher bond. It's if I'm in a relationship with you, that's not really with you. It's with this higher bond that's up here. And there's a difference between A and B versus C, which had a combination of both A and B. And that's a hard one for people to understand.
Can you define the word love for me?
Love is the force that's at the bottom of the reality of what a human being is. And it can only do one thing, which is, we call it outflow. It can move outwards and into the world of other people. That's all it can do. It can't take revenge. It's not built for it. It never wants to hurt anybody else.
What is one thing that when you were younger, you put a lot of importance on, and as you got older, you realized wasn't worth worrying about?
The only thing I can think of is money.
You made a lot of money, though? That wasn't worth worrying about? Looking
It
back?
definitely wasn't worth it. For LA, I didn't make a lot of money. For the average person, I made a fortune. But it wouldn't really have mattered. It was the focus on what's most valuable.
Yeah. Which is?
It's a connection to the same creative force that created the universe. Only now you have an opportunity. If you obey the rules, you have an opportunity to experience that force in a new way that's specific to you.
To the person listening, watching this, who is wanting to make a change in their life, feeling stuck, feeling lost, if you could give them one life lesson or piece of advice, what would you say?
Remain loving, forgiving, connecting.
So I asked you to fill out a page of this journal, and you had told me to write down a specific piece of advice. The advice that you told me to write down was modulate success so that it doesn't crowd everything out. Do you mind explaining what that means?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's about, if you reach the point of success, at the same time you're going to meet the God of disappointment. See, success is never independent, never. So it's always valued by something else. And the person that's finally admits that will both be very disappointed, like we said before, but also will get the sense of possibility. That's real, that you can feel.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. Thank you so much.
Stop now?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is great.